The garden in winter. It's a sight that many of us see as a quiet, dormant space, tucked in for a long rest. But did you know that these cold, still months are the perfect time to get a head start on spring? Yes, even as temperatures dip, we can prepare for the season ahead through an age-old method called winter sowing. This technique, for those who may be unfamiliar, harnesses the natural cycle of cold stratification to sprout hardy seeds right in the elements. Today, I'm excited to walk you through the process, share some updates from my own winter-sown seeds, and give you all the tips you need to transform your garden when the warmth returns. Understanding winter sowing. How it works. So, what exactly is winter sowing? It's a simple but powerful method of seed starting that takes advantage of winter's natural elements, temperature fluctuations, moisture from snow or rain, and sunlight, to create ideal conditions for germination. Seeds that thrive in these conditions, such as perennials, cold-tolerant vegetables, and hardy annuals, are typically those that would self-seed in the wild, sprouting when the time is right. The beauty of winter sowing is its simplicity. Unlike indoor seed starting, where you need grow lights, seed trays, and careful monitoring, winter sowing allows you to plant in containers outside, leaving nature to take over. There's no need to worry about mold, limited light, or transplant shock. The seeds lie dormant until late winter or early spring, when they naturally begin to germinate in sync with the warming earth. Choosing seeds for winter sowing. Now, not every seed is suited for winter sowing, so choosing the right varieties is essential. For this method, I like to select seeds that benefit from cold stratification, which mimics winter conditions to break seed dormancy. Think of hardy perennials like echinacea, lavender, and yarrow, which emerge from frigid soil each spring. Cold-tolerant vegetables, like kale, Swiss chard, and spinach, are also fantastic choices since they thrive in cooler temperatures. And if you're looking to fill your garden with blooms, hardy annuals like larkspur, poppies, and nigella are perfect candidates. Remember, it's about picking seeds that will respond positively to the cold and will be ready to burst into life as soon as the season warms. I often set aside a few types each winter, experimenting with new varieties to see how they adapt. It's like setting up a little science experiment, one that rewards you with a colorful garden come spring. Preparing your containers for sowing. To begin, you'll need some containers for planting. Recycled plastic jugs, food containers, and even milk cartons are ideal for winter sowing. The key is ensuring good drainage, drilling holes in the bottoms for excess water to escape and slits on the sides for air circulation. This setup mimics a mini greenhouse, allowing moisture and light in while protecting seeds from harsh elements. Once you've prepared your containers, fill them about halfway with a good quality seed starting mix. Unlike potting soil, which can be too dense, seed starting mixes provide the right balance of aeration and moisture retention. Wet the mix thoroughly but avoid waterlogging it. Dampness is perfect for seed germination. Planting the seeds. Step by step. With your containers ready, it's time to plant. Scatter seeds over the soil surface, then gently press them in, ensuring they make good contact with the soil. Cover the seeds lightly with soil if they require darkness to germinate, otherwise, leave them on the surface. Label each container with the plant name and date. It's amazing how easily you can lose track of what's what as you gather containers. Cover your container with a plastic lid or plastic wrap, leaving space for airflow, and set it outside. This is the magic moment in winter sowing. Placing your containers in a spot that gets natural light but is exposed to the elements. The cold will do its work, breaking the dormancy of the seeds and preparing them for a strong start. Observing the changes. What to expect over winter. Once planted, winter-sown seeds don't require much attention. Nature takes over, watering the seeds when it rains or snows, and the cold temperatures keep the soil from drying out. Over the weeks, You may notice a subtle change in the soil texture as it adapts to the weather. Inside, the seeds are beginning to awaken. Tiny biochemical changes are happening, preparing the seeds for the moment the temperatures rise just enough to signal germination. If you've chosen seeds that benefit from cold stratification, this period of exposure to low temperatures will trigger the seeds to germinate. It's an exciting process to observe, especially as the weather warms in late winter, and you start to notice the very first sprouts emerging. The transition to spring. Monitoring growth. As winter begins to give way to spring, keep an eye on your containers. As temperatures gradually warm, you'll notice the first signs of growth, a few delicate green shoots piercing the soil. This stage can be so rewarding, seeing the fruits of winter's quiet work. At this point, check moisture levels more regularly, as the sun will start drying out the containers more quickly. It's crucial to keep the soil consistently moist but not soaked, so your young plants stay healthy and vibrant. You may also want to gradually increase ventilation by opening the containers more frequently. This helps acclimate the seedlings to the outdoor environment, hardening them off so they're ready for full exposure to the elements once they're transplanted. It's a good time to start thinking about your garden layout and where these winter-sown plants will fit best once they're fully grown. Transplanting into the garden. Final steps. Once the risk of frost has passed and your seedlings are well established, it's time to transplant them into the garden. By now, these plants have adapted to the cold, grown strong in their winter containers, and are ready to thrive in the open garden. With each carefully chosen spot, you'll see your garden come alive with these hardy plants that have made it through winter's challenges. In the following sections, we'll dive into updates from my own winter-sown seeds, sharing what worked well and what could be improved for next season. I'll also give you tips on expanding your winter sowing technique, covering everything from unique seed varieties to using larger containers for more ambitious planting projects. This introductory outline sets up the framework for a full-length, 9,000-word script. From here, it could expand to cover 1. Detailed garden layout planning. Tips on organizing your winter-sown plants in the spring garden. 2. Specific plant growth updates, monitoring growth and troubleshooting issues. 3. Seed variety deep dive, exploring specific varieties and their performance in winter sowing. 4. Challenges and successes, real-life experiences, including adjustments for climate, soil, and seed quality. 5. Gardener's reflections, sharing personal thoughts on gardening, the patience required, and the joy of watching a garden come to life. Once you've decided on where to place your winter-sown plants, it's essential to plan your garden layout thoughtfully. A well-organized garden maximizes space and promotes healthy growth, allowing plants to thrive without overcrowding. Start by sketching a simple diagram of your garden plot, noting the sun and shade areas, as well as pathways for easy access. Consider the mature size of each plant when planning. For instance, tall plants like sunflowers or hollyhocks should be placed at the back of your garden bed or against a fence, ensuring they don't shade shorter plants such as marigolds or pansies. Companion planting is another technique to keep in mind. Some plants, like basil and tomatoes, benefit from being planted near each other, while others may not fare well together. Research companion planting strategies to create a harmonious garden ecosystem. As you lay out your garden, also think about seasonal color. Combining various flowering plants and foliage types can create a visually stunning display. Planting in groups, rather than single specimens, helps to make a bolder statement. You might choose to create blocks of color, like a bed of bright yellow daffodils next to deep blue delphiniums, to draw the eye and create focal points in your garden.